I am the varsity head baseball coach here in town for American Legion Post 263. This coming season will be my 10th as varsity head coach and 11th overall for the Clippers. My first season was a JV coach here in town. And when Mr. Bill Crow called me in January, he said, "Hey Jim, it's our birthday party for the Legion, and we were wondering if you'd be our guest honorary speaker." I think my hair stood up on my arm, and excuse me, and it was, you don't really think about that as a young man, right, Kayla? Still a young man, I think. The gray hair stuff's a different story. And I said, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I couldn't turn it down. Didn't have anything going on. Unfortunately, I'm kidding. He ain't even listening. He's looking at his stopwatch. But he said, there's just one stipulation, and you can't say anything bad about me, and you can't pick on me. And I said, Bill, come on, man. But this is a big honor to me, and I really appreciate the honor and you asking me. So thank you all very much. Previous to my coaching here in New London, I played 5 seasons for the Clippers. I was a catcher, mainly because I couldn't catch a fly ball, hit a first baseman under 7'5", or throw a strike. So there isn't a whole lot left to do, and nobody wants to catch, so I did. When I started playing, I had the opportunity to take over as a starting catcher as a sophomore, and at that time was pretty cool. We didn't have a JV team. It was varsity, and that was it. And my coach, Jim Crane, at the time, took me aside. I was struggling. I was young. Couldn't really figure out varsity hitting, but he took me aside and he said, you're a good ball player. You're a very good ball player. You're struggling. You're having a bad season. You'll figure it out. Everybody, you are my starting catcher. Everybody on this team respects you. Everybody on the field respects you. You'll figure it out. And then as a 15-year-old kid, that means a lot. Yeah. And he made it very clear that I was the leader of the team. And I was young, but that's just the way it was. So that's how it happened. And then that was the jolt that I needed. As a junior, as a junior and a sophomore, I was selected to play in the League All-Star game for our Fox River Valley League. And as a senior, I was selected with the top 54 players in the state to play at the Miller Park as a State Legion All-Star. Which, again, I didn't play for that stuff. I played because my buddies played, and I was proud to be a Clipper, and I was proud to play baseball. And for me to get that honor from Jim Crane was way over me. I was overcome. It was great. It was fantastic. My parents put a bus trip together with about 100 people. And we all headed down to Miller Park, and it was a day to remember, that's for sure. It was a lot of fun. Did you go on that one? I think Bob, you came on that one too?
Yeah, I was there,
yeah. I mean, it was a blast. So again, I mean, thank you. Now I'll fast forward a little bit here through all the non-Clipper boring stuff. Like marriage and kids. I'm kidding, Kayla. Bill told me I had to bring Mrs. Coach, so I have to talk nice about her. By the power of some higher being, I was lucky enough to strike it rich and meet my beautiful, successful wife, Kayla, Mrs. Coach. Who surprisingly, but not really, because everybody kind of knows how deep American Legion baseball roots run in this town, has some Clipper blood in her family as well. And had the other previous state champ from 1961, Jim Elke, as her grandfather, if any of you know Jim Elke. So that lucky little lady has some New London Clipper baseball royalty in her. And let's talk about luck, she gets both. She wanted to read my speech earlier, but I wouldn't let her read page 2 because I got yelled at, "Don't you dare make this about me," and blah, 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 whatever else she said after. And guess what, pal? It's as much about you as it is about me. So I'm the lucky one, really. I kept her subdued long enough. She can't go anywhere at this point. She's all mine. She's stuck. Mrs. Coach has been along for this crazy ride from the beginning. She encouraged me to get into coaching in 2010. And after 1 year coaching baseball, she gave me the support and confidence to take over the varsity team with just 1 year of experience because she knew what I was capable of doing. She's been along for tough seasons, many failures, a lot of success. She was along for our first baseball state tournament in 2012 in Alaska. When we were both a little starry-eyed and maybe not quite ready for the situation. She's my rock, she's my backbone, she's the one that doesn't let me get frazzled and give up and keep pushing. 18 and 19, Mrs. Coach took on a role she never really wanted or even signed up for, but she got it. Not only was she an all-star mom to our two young, beautiful babies, Hayden and Easton. We have a 4 and a 2-year-old. At the time, we were 1 and 3, and this last year we're 2 and 4. She had to take care of those because I'm the host. Get those things out of here. She took care of those as a state all-star mom. But not only that, she took care of 15 others. We had 15 boys with us on those trips. Parents come and go. We're lucky enough to be able to take these kids on, and I have a great staff and a great wife, and we were able to feed them, and I think they bathed themselves, but wash their clothes, and she picked up a lot of the slack for me, a lot of the food, and a lot of the gathering of clothes, and just making sure everything ran smooth behind the scenes that I didn't have to take care of. She gives up her summers for Legion baseball. I don't. It's fun for me. She does because I'm gone. And she rocks it. She's an all-star in herself. So thank you. Which brings me to my coaching career for this amazing American Legion Post 263 baseball club. Like I said, I've coached here for 9 varsity seasons. This will be my 10th coming up, I think. Yeah? Well, I had to ask for permission. I'd like to put her on the spot with other people here. I've been lucky enough to lead your men to 3 state baseball tournaments. We won regionals in New London, Kaukauna, and this last year at Hortonville. We placed 4th place in 2012, 2nd in 2018, and this last year, 2019, for the 2nd time, took 1st in the state. So that was pretty dang cool. That was. And that state championship win was my 150th as a varsity coach in 9 seasons. So that was fun as well. Jim Crane clearly brought out the leader in me that he saw 20 years ago. And it's still every day, that's some of the things that I think about. Without that talk, I don't know what I might not even play baseball. But with that, it's led me to a lot of really awesome things, including this. There are no secrets, no tricks, no planning to the way I coach. I keep everything simple. There's a lot of luck, a lot of magic, a lot of failing. Failure is the key to my success. I'm very open with these young men, and that bothers some people, other coaches in town, other people, but that's for another talk. I'm open with them. I tell them the things they need to do, even the things they don't want to hear, I tell them. They need to know. I tell them what I expect. I tell them I expect them to fail. I want them to fail. What? Wait, what? You want your kids to fail? Are you crazy? Yes, I am crazy. Bill, tell them. But baseball, much like life, is all about failures. How you respond to failing is how you succeed. And that's what I tell my kids. You must accept your failures and push on, and learn to not repeat your failures and ultimately make the other guy fail more than you do. My example to them is always the pros, Major League Baseball. So for example here, Christian Yelich, the Brewers MVP and future Hall of Famer, more than likely, has a career batting average of .301. So that means he fails 7 out of 10 times. These kids are following a sport where Hall of Famers fail 7 out of 10 times. So it's not about, or more, correct. But in their failures, they need to find success with me in our program. And they understand that, and they understand I want them to succeed at failing And I'm 100% behind them when they do, good and bad. I also like to preach fun. We have plenty of fun. Sometimes too much fun, but the second talk we have is always about fun. I have two every year. I give the same 2 speeches at tryouts, and this is it. And the kids that have been around me long enough know the answer to this question, but what's the funnest thing about sports? Winning. There is no fun in losing. Not even a good close game. Losing is not fun. So we try to have as much fun as we possibly can. And it takes a 16 and 17-year-old to figure this out a little bit, but we're not here to have fun, guys. We're here to have fun. And we need to have fun by winning. So we do, and it's not life or death, but we need to win. And that's how you're gonna have fun. We find other ways to make it fun. I have a great staff. We do a lot of fun things during the season. 2 state tournaments have been fantastic and fun. But they help me out a lot with that. I don't know if a lot of you know Coach Morrison, but Joe Morrison has been right along with me the whole time. And he's a great deal of our fun as well. We've been together through really awesome things and really terrible things, and he's the godfather of my second child, and he's a very irreplaceable guy to me. Somebody that I don't think I'd be able to lose him, ever. I don't know if that bond would ever be broken. But he helps me a lot with these kids having fun. I also get the pleasure to work with a lot of my former players. My other assistant coach, Lane Hanadel, and Casey Hofer, and Jordan Shue, and Luke Listel, to name a few. And they all come back and tell me about all their successes and their college baseball teams and their girlfriends and their new first jobs and their wives and babies and everything they're all proud of. It's great to hear. I love it. It makes me so happy. It really makes me feel old when I'm watching them have kids. I'm 33. I shouldn't be watching them have kids yet. But I started young. That's how I say it. I love watching them succeed off the field after baseball. That takes the cake for me. So thank you. But what did I say before? You cannot succeed without failure. So I've also seen a lot of these kids lose jobs and lose girlfriends and lose wives. And unfortunately, this last fall, we did lose one of our players, Johnny Gonzalez. Yep, unfortunately. Yep. And we will be this season having a Johnny Gonzalez night where we're kind of hoping to maybe put something like a scholarship together with the proceeds that we make from that game. So we'll have Bill get that information out to you guys. But we also see a lot of failures. We also see a lot of unsuccessful times for these kids, which is heartbreaking. But again, my reminder to them is you can't succeed without failing. So we always try to use it as a moving forward point and a get back on your feet and let's keep pushing on. And then we end up succeeding usually. I mean, it's pretty cool. They can come back and get some of this stuff from us. But that's really what we preach to them. A quick story about one of my all-time favorite stories that I also like to tell my kids now is a kid by the name of Blake Moline. I don't know if any of you know Blake. He played for the Clippers. He graduated in 2013. In 2013, I had a really small junior class. So his senior class was very talented, but the junior class was small. And we can have graduated seniors come back, and we did. And one of the kids played third base, just like Blake, and he played it all season. But this graduated senior was a little better, and you know how that goes for a senior looking to play his last season. He wasn't happy, and Blake's a really happy, always upbeat, awesome kid. Cannot complain about him. And you could just tell, it was dragging him down, and it started to boil over. So I pulled him aside. I've had a coach do this to me, as you've heard, and I pulled him aside, and as his leader, I looked him face to face, coached the player, man to man. I said, Blake, I've had enough. I know you've had enough. I don't like this situation. You don't like this situation. But this is what's best for the team, so I need to have a better attitude. And I said, he said to me, no, coach, you're right. It does have to stop. I want to play. And as a coach, you can't blame a kid for saying that. That's what you want to hear. You want honesty. You want truth. And he gave it to me. And that's how I open up to them. That's how I want them to open up to me, and he did. He said, no, coach, you're right, I have to play. Why can't I play? And I said, Blake, well, Nick's better. I'm sorry, we've given you chances, and we're just playing the best player available. And he said, Jim, he stopped with the coach thing at this point. He was pretty pissed. And he said, Jim, give me another chance. I said, all right, buddy, you know what? You got it. I'm putting you in the lineup. Lose the attitude. Do what you're capable of doing. We all know you can do it. And we shook hands, which was a little strange to both of us because young coach, ego in check, young kid calling me out, young kid shaking his coach's hand, having this talk, opening up eye to eye, stuff that you tell your parents or your friends, not stuff you tell your coach. You know, coaches don't like to hear, I need to play. I have to play. You have to put me in. But the way we run things is we're open and honest, and Blake ended up hitting 500 the rest of the season. And we couldn't get him out of the lineup. It was impossible. I tried it once, and his teammates came after me. I mean, he proved it to it. He proved it to me, his parents, his teammates, his fans, which was, I mean, fantastic. And I love telling the kids this story because you can fail and still end up succeeding. And he did, and I did, for not getting that potential out of him sooner. Just a quick side note on Blake Moline, we had his wedding this last fall. Awesome wedding, cool wedding. The whole 2012 state team was there. 3/4 of the 2012 state team was there. And we took a recreation picture. We went to Onalaska and we took them to the bluffs and the cross, and we had them all stand in a big huddle, and we kind of redid that, which was really cool. It was one of my favorite pictures that I have right now, this recent one. But these kids are all of age to drink alcohol now, so Mrs. Coach doesn't like this part too much. We were sucking some beers down, and we got to talking and reminiscing and giggling, and hey, Coach, remember when this, remember when that, and yeah, I mean, yes, absolutely. My favorite is one of those, hey, Coach, and they still call me Coach, even when I, send them a happy birthday text and say thanks, Coach, which makes my heart explode and reminds me how old I am, because they got another year on me. Coach, I bet you didn't know this, blah, 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 whatever they come up with, whatever stupid. Okay, I bet you didn't know we did. Okay, yes, I did know you were doing that, Tommy. I told you not to, and you did, and I knew it. But then, number two, it makes me realize how much crap we put Jim Crane through. I can't even believe he didn't kill some of us. Some of the stuff that Coach don't know, let's just go quick. Here's a funny story about that. Yeah, good funny stories. So a tournament, Kimberly, I was a senior, graduation party time, the young, dumb kid should have been in bed, found the devil in a can kind of deal. Show up Saturday morning, and Joe Crane, who was Jim Crane's son, assistant coach at the time, did his normal rah-rahs and getting everybody all fired up. Looks me right in the eyes and he says, Jim, really? Does it smell that bad? He's like, come on. Drags me to the concession stand. We bought a cheeseburger and a Gatorade, and he said, you're not leaving until this is gone. Well, to quote Ted Christian, I didn't get this way by running. So that cheeseburger and Gatorade didn't take too long. It was gone. I'm like, all right, let's go back. And I was fine. I was fine. I was 18. I was fine. That's fine. So we're playing, and I play hard. There was no off days. You play hard. You play. That's just how we were. That's how I was. Mid-game, pop up behind me. I was catching, and I went to track it down, and I had to dive into the gravel warning track. And I'm like, oh, my shoulder, bad, shit. All right, well, let's get back behind the plate. Let's do it. We're good. I look down to put my hand in my glove, and I'm dripping blood. And I'm like, oh. It was either the amount of liquids that I had in my blood that made it a little thin, or it was that high altitude in Kimberly. It's higher altitude, right? Is that a thing? Is it? Downriver? Yeah, okay. But I'm just dripping, and I'm not much of a bleeder, but I'm dripping, and I call time. And I am absolutely dreading this walk over to talk to Jim Crane about what's coming, what's going on. And I walk over there, and Joe Crane just immediately, and Jim grabs the gauze. And at this point, I knew that Jim knew. He looked me in the eyes, and he grabbed the gauze, and he rubbed it on my until every piece of gravel that was still left in there was embedded into my skin. And that was the last time that I pulled a stunt like that. So thank you guys for that too. I appreciate it. Which brings me to my last point. All of you, the American Legion, especially Post 263. From my research that I did for this, there are 4 pillars to the American Legion: Veterans Affairs and Rehabilitation, National Security, Americanism, and Children and Youth. This post especially does a fantastic job of doing so many of those great things and provides so many great opportunities for the children and youth with this baseball program. The only thing I've ever known about New London Clipper American Legion baseball is community, strength, fun, full stands, bright lights in Hatton, unbelievable support, and mosquitoes. You don't really know how bad the mosquito season is until you show up to the steak fry in the middle of June. So again, thank you for the mosquitoes. I'm joking about that. I do not thank you for the mosquitoes. As a kid, I can remember going to Legion games with my dad and Brian Stern, who was Jim Stern's son, many of you know. And the first thing you see is a smiling, welcome face, and Dick Dietz. This is the part where I would say, I'm kidding, Dick, but Dick's not here, so I'm not kidding, Dick. Make sure you tell Dick that I wasn't kidding about that. The Legionnaires are always there, rain or shine, probably because their wives want them out of the house. But that's for a different speech. We can do it a later time, Bill. But in all seriousness, they're always there. When help is short and they want to be extra helpful, they bring their wives or their significants or their kids or their grandkids we've seen to help, or just to show them the product they work so passionately for. When you're a young player in the program, you don't really realize how important and awesome these Legionnaires truly are. I always loved and appreciated a good conversation with our Legionnaires, but there were always teammates. You get young kids; they don't really truly understand and appreciate how involved and how important you all are to our program and just to us in general. But when I played, I had the honor of playing. Some of our Legionnaires were Noel Pope and Bob Marks and John Paters playing taps. They would all show up and sweep and prep and welcome everybody that showed up, players, fans, everybody that showed up, always welcoming. And I really cherish these moments. There was a point at one time in my playing career, for 2 straight years, I think Bob was recruiting me for the Timber Rattlers to be their catcher. He'd come to the pool, he'd show up at the pool to recruit me over there. You just, in this town, if you're playing Legion baseball, you're a part of a lot more than just a baseball team, which is, you can't replace, so thank you. But now as a coach, I get even more interaction with our Legionnaires. They call, they text, they even somehow figure out how to Facebook message me. He's the man, by the way. But they're asking to help even more, and there isn't a thing they won't do or they don't want to do, or even if we're on the road for a tournament and we have home games for that tournament, we're gone, they'll run the show. We don't have to ask them for anything or show them how to do anything, or they do it. They give me a call when it's done, and they say, hey, this went great, or we had to cancel, or whatever. You always trust these guys to do this stuff for us, and it's stuff that you can't give up. You can't find that stuff. 2 seasons ago, we gave all of our Legionnaires that sell our food and soda and water and beers we gave the Jim Stern Award to our Legionnaires. And the Jim Stern Award always goes to the people or persons that give up time out of their schedules and help us out. They are so important to our program. We honor them during a game, and we brought them all on the field. I'm pretty sure we all shared quite a few tears that night. But it's just stuff that they do that never really goes unnoticed. We talk about all this stuff at all of our meetings, even Dick, not here, about how much we appreciate you all, about how much we couldn't do this without you all. I'm reading this part verbatim because this part was good, I think. Sorry, I'm going to look down for this whole part. People frequently ask me about how Legion baseball is run, and I never forget to mention how important and how appreciative that I am and we are for our Legionnaires. We never have to worry about our daily operations. We always have a full stands and they handle every situation with ease. Sometimes we have to listen to the people that they overserve too much, Mr. Pope. But it's all part of the game, right? I really love having opposing teams come to Hatton. If I could have every game, it'd be great. One, because it's an amazing place to see a baseball game. And two, because the first thing you see when you walk in is 7, 8 Legionnaires. And they're happy. And they don't care what the score is, they're still happy. They don't have mosquitoes by them either. So if you guys haven't come to a Legion game, want to come, sit by these old farts. Okay? They have the mosquito repellent and the farts to keep the mosquitoes away. Okay? And I love that other teams get to come and experience our Legionnaires seeing these people because they're so important to us, and that's why we're playing. This is American Legion baseball. I frequently wonder how other teams operate because many of them operate without their Legionnaires there. And many times when we go to away games, our Legionnaires outnumber the Legionnaires from the home team, if there are any. It really gives me great pride to work with such a great program because of all of you. This is fantastic. Another one of my favorite memories from coaching and being a part of this program is this last year at the state tournament in Boston. Every year at the state tournament, they do an opening ceremony, which is really cool to see. The host team brings out their Legionnaires and their colors, and they do the anthem and everything. They march it all out. And this last year, our kids went up and shook every one of the Legionnaires' hands and said thank you, which to me I was like, whose kids are these? You know, I mean, we teach them the importance, but I didn't have to ask them to do it this time. It was great. It was fantastic. But Coach Mo and I stayed and watched the Boston game that night, and we sat by a Legionnaire and said, so how's the team doing? And he said, this is the first time I've seen him play. What? Isn't this a Legion team? And he said, well, yeah, but we don't really follow our Legion. And I said, well, what? Our Legionnaires should have been there doing the colors and the flag. That was just totally I was mind blown that they don't even know who the kids are on their team. They don't know a score of the game. They don't follow them in the paper. I'm getting phone calls the day after away games just to see what the score was. These kids are, our post 263 for this kind the support is incredible. All state support, without a doubt. So fulfilling that fourth pillar of the Legion is an absolute check. You guys do a fantastic job of that. These kids know it and see it and appreciate it every single day. So thank you. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for all being you. Thank your significance for graciously giving us to you and helping when we need it. Even though we all know they're probably thanking us for giving you something to do. Yeah, they miss you. That's why that's why we put away games, so you guys can spend some time at home. All of us men know we couldn't do anything like this that we wanted to do without their support, so make sure you thank them from us. Thank you for giving me the passion and support that you do to allow me to do what I do. I really appreciate it. And thank you for all of your service, past and present. Again, we're not here without what you all have done, and we really appreciate it. And again, lastly, thank you for all being Legionnaires, great ones, allowing us young men to grow and dream and compete in such an amazing program and an amazing post. Thank you, New London Legion Post 263, and even Dick Dietz. Stop down. What?
Our parent group and how they support the game.